There we go. And we are in, this is DocuSign. We'll call this DocuSign Advanced, DocuSign Tips and Tricks, just some things that are a little bit outside of the box just for some regular DocuSign usage. So in the interest of always delivering the best thing that you all need in your business right now, I'm going to give you just a couple seconds. And if anybody wants to drop anything in the chat, specifically that they would like to know on more of the advanced kind of side of DocuSign, I have got that up on my monitor over here. So I'll just continue to take a look at that and to make sure that we're just delivering everything that you guys are looking for. So if I've never met you, thanks so much for being here with us today. My name is Sydney Seymour. I'm the regional technology trainer for the Carolinas region, serving both North Carolina and South Carolina. And I really work hand in hand with your Market Center tech trainers, director of agent services, Market Center leadership team, as far as training, consulting, and all of that fun stuff. So I am excited that you're all here for DocuSign. We're going to actually cover some really fantastic features that sometimes just don't jump out at you when you're immediately looking at DocuSign. So some great additional features. And we're going to cover these based off of the market of the moment. So what I'd love to kind of hear from you, and I'll have you drop this answer in chat as well, is if you are working with buyers or if you are representing sellers, what's the highest number of offers that you have heard of in your market? So if you're working with a seller, what's the highest number of offers that you've received? If you're working with buyers, what's the highest number that maybe the listing agent has said you're one of X? And so we'll put those numbers in there just to see. So just drop your response, whatever you have heard in chat in your market. Every market is different, but I think we're seeing high numbers across the board for that. So it looks like we've got a 47 in there from Tracy. That's incredible. So big numbers. So if you guys have any additional answers for that, we'd love to kind of see that. With that, some of the things that we're going to talk about today are things that can save you time, whether you are the listing agent and you're receiving all of those offers, or whether you are representing a buyer and we got to get that offer and we got to get it out quick. So those are some of the main things that we're going to speak to today. Somebody was telling me in one area, it was like 96. There were 96 offers on a property, and we are seeing this just in crazy markets, you guys. I know you're feeling it. So again, we want to make sure that we're always delivering training to the market of the moment that you're all experiencing, which is why we're going to really spend some time on DocuSign best practices today. So what we're not going to talk about is how to create the opportunity, link the opportunity into the DocuSign room. We're not going to really lean into that today. We're going to talk about some more advanced features and some things that I think, again, will help you save time with that. So again, thank you guys for being here. My name's Sydney. Feel free to unmute, ask questions. We can absolutely make this as collaborative as you all would like to. I do have chat open, so I'll continue to take a look at that. And with that, you guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. So give me 1 second while I just move a couple things around. The first thing that we're going to talk about is a really fantastic feature. And I'm just going to pull this up real quickly. And if you guys can just give me like a quick thumbs up if you're able to see my screen. It should be a DocuSign. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Sue. Thanks for being here. Oh, John, Jade, thank you guys for the thumbs up for that. I love those little emojis. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about shared forms access. So shared forms access is a really fantastic feature in DocuSign that was actually released in February of this year. So in the grand scheme of things, it's a relatively new feature and it's a fantastic feature. So I want you to think about, and I'm going to have you drop some responses in the chat for me, but what are some instances where you would maybe want someone else that has a DocuSign Rooms account? So generally we're talking about another Keller Williams agent. We're talking about a team member. We're sometimes talking about a transaction coordinator, maybe your admin. So what are some instances where you would want someone to be able to see all of your documents and be able to edit documents on your behalf? So while we're kind of pulling this up, I'll have you guys drop your answer in chat if there's any sort of best needs for that. Oh, I love that, Julie. So my coach. yeah, for them to be able to see that. We sometimes see that with a coach, with a mentor, that sometimes you want them to be able to see that. So I love that. Some other best practices, and you guys definitely keep those answers coming. Yeah, Tracy's like the ones you mentioned, you took all of them. Coordinators. So we sometimes see with transaction coordinators, anybody like that. That's a really big one, Diane. Another one is who wants to go on a vacation? Does anybody want to go on a vacation at some point in our lives, right? We want to step away from real estate a little bit. So I know sometimes when we do that, we're really actually stepping out and we say, okay, hey, could you handle my business while I'm gone? These are my active buyers. This is my active listing. Call me with anything that you need. But if something needs to really get written up, I want you to be able to do that for the appropriate referral fee. So everything that you guys are mentioning, coaches, transaction coordinators, other agents in the market center, agents on your team, all of these different people, you might want to allow them to have what we call shared forms access. And this is really, really easy to set up, and it can actually be a one-time setup. So you're not having to do it multiple times. And so all we have to do is, again, we're in a DocuSign Rooms account right now. And it doesn't matter what room you start with if you want to give full access across the board. And you'll see what I mean by that in just a moment. So we're in the DocuSign Rooms account, and we're in the actual room right here. And you're all probably very familiar with these tabs that we have at the top of the page right here. The one that we're going to go into is the People tab. So we're going to go into our DocuSign Rooms and we're going to go into the People tab. And all that we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to click on the blue button that says Invite. Now you'll see that if we go back one step, when I first go into the people section, you're already going to have some people in there. So generally you're going to have the MCA of your market center. A lot of times your broker in charge might be listed here. You should be listed as the room owner or as the agent owner of the room. So we'll see some people that you've added here. And so if we wanted to add someone, so again, in any of those best practices that all of you came up with, and then we want to add someone to the room, it's a really easy step. So all we're going to do is we're just going to click on the blue box right up here that says Invite. Now here is the kind of opportunity that we have here. This has to be someone that has a DocuSign for Rooms account under the Keller Williams umbrella. So essentially think of someone that is usually in our Winmore system, which is our accounting system. So that means that they could be a transaction coordinator that the market center has added. It could be any other agent. It could be your coach. They're obviously a member of the market center. So we have to remember that we're kind of having to do that first. And you'll see it's going to check that. It's going to cross-reference that based off of the email address that we're putting in. So if you notice, when I first come in here to enter the email, the room role down here is completely grayed out. I can't select it. I have to enter an email address because then it's going to verify that they do indeed have a DocuSign for Rooms account. So I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to start typing. And then I'm going to enter that contact's name. So we're just going to enter Staley, who is an agent with Keller Williams. And then you'll see it's automatically going to give me their first name and their last name. Underneath that, it's going to have what transaction side. We can just say both. It honestly doesn't matter because we don't preference by that. And then what we want to make sure that we're looking at down here is now that we can have this drop down, we're going to make sure that we're giving them an agent owner access. And then we can even view permissions here. What you're allowing them to do essentially is to add documents to the room on your behalf, fill out documents in the room on your behalf. Now, again, they would need to be licensed for that, but just check with your market center as far as that. And then send and receive documents. So it's almost like they're a clone of you logging into their DocuSign account, and then they have full access to the rooms. From that point, all we're going to do is click on the invite, and then it will tell you Staley has been added to your room. And so then when we come up here, we'll see that contact that we just added. They will automatically get an email saying your name, you have added them to the room. There's one additional step that we want to do. We want to click on the three little dots that are right down here. And then you'll see that we have this one option down here, which is share form access. And then it's going to ask you, what do you want to give them access to? Do you want to give them access only to this one room? So that would be maybe you're hiring a transaction coordinator and you're kind of testing them with your first 3 transactions. You might want to go in and just allow them access to this room and then move forward from that. Again, maybe you're going on vacation, another agent is managing this room for you. We would say only this room. If it is someone that you're wanting to give full access to, which means you create a new room, they're automatically going to have access to that. We can choose any room. And then down here, it will show you the association that you are a member of. So this is essentially telling you these are the documents that they will be able to add on your behalf. So this would show your North Carolina or your South Carolina, whichever one you are a member of. And then we would just hit save. And then you'll see that this has changed and it now says that she has form access to any room. Now, let's say that I'm no longer needing to share my room with this person. Maybe I'm not using the transaction coordinator. Maybe I'm done with my coaching, so I don't need them to have access at any time to any of my rooms. I can do the same thing to remove them. It's very, very easy. So we're just going to go back into that same room. We're going to click on the 3 dots right down here. And this time we're going to go to change form access. And this time we're going to change that to no access. And that immediately revokes any access that you have given them, either to the individual room here or to all rooms. And then we just need to make sure that we hit save. And then you'll see it has revoked that access completely. So they will no longer have access to it. So this is one of the best features that we've seen roll out in recent months. Again, this rolled out February, maybe early March. So again, it's a one-time giving them access, then you never have to come back in. They will essentially log into DocuSign just as they usually would, either through command or if they go directly to DocuSign Rooms account, and then they'll be able to see anything that you've done in that room and also be able to add documents, fill them out, and then share them on your behalf as well. So I'm just going to pause for just a second there just to see, do we have any questions from anyone? Feel free to either drop them in chat if you prefer or unmute and we can have a discussion. But just before I kind of move on, want to make sure we're good with that. Good to go. Okay. Was anybody aware of that? Have you guys used that before? Love it. Okay. So some of you guys had, okay, awesome. Great. Thank you guys. Great feedback for that. All right, let's keep it moving. We're going to talk about form templates, one of the biggest requests that we received through DocuSign that you now have. And so this is a really, really fantastic feature. So I'm just going to stay in DocuSign where I am, but we're actually going to go through the tabs at the top of the page up here. So you'll see we've got your dashboard, which is going to take you to essentially like your DocuSign Rooms dashboard that shows you some of your previous activities. We've got the Rooms section, which is where I am right now. We've got your inbox, which we'll speak to in just a moment. And then we've got the My Docs section. So I'm going to click on My Docs and you'll see that once we click into the My Docs, we've got a couple things that we can look at there. So give me an example, you guys. I'm going to have you drop this in chat. What's a document that no matter what the transaction is, there are certain fields in that document that never change? And so for every single time that you're creating a transaction, you always want in these fields to have that data automatically there. The price might change, contact details might change for the buyer or the seller, but there are certain fields that if you fill it out once, you're going to fill out 100 times and it's always going to be the same. Okay, so the listing agreement, yeah, that's a big one. Buyer's agency agreement, Sue, absolutely. There's definitely pieces of data there. So again, we always want to talk about the market of the moment. And so we want to think about the WWREA. Yeah, that's a big one, Julie, too. We always want to think about these pieces of information that if it's always going to be the same, I don't want to have to type it every time. Let's just make what we call a template out of it. So this is something that's been a really, really big request that I'm really excited is live because I know a lot of you have been wanting this. So again, all we've done is we're in the DocuSign Rooms account. We're going to come right up here to the My Docs tab, and we're going to go into these form templates. Now I have a couple of them that I have just as test ones or demo ones that I've created already. So if you've never done this, you just won't have a list of documents in there at this time, which is completely fine. We'll go in there and actually create them together. So again, all we've done is we went into the My Docs, and then we're going into form templates. And then you'll see again, you might have a blank screen if you've never created any templates. We are going to create a template, and all we're going to do is come right over here to create a form template. And then it's going to pull up the documents that you have access to. So we've got your DocuSign form library. If your market center has created group forms for you, you'd be able to pull from that as well. And then I'm just going to come in here. You will not have all of the options that I have, so don't worry at all about that. We're going to actually come in here. We'll pick these, and then I'm just going to pick one document really quickly. And so we will do, I'm going to do just a quick document. It might not even be a document we would want to create a form template for, but just for the sake of time, I want to show you guys how this works. So we're going to pick that document, and then we're going to choose use. And then you'll see that it's going to open the document for me directly right here. Perfect. And so this is where we need to just think what items here are always going to be the same no matter what we're ever filling out. And so let's just get down to where, okay. So we'll say down here, there's only one little section here where we can write. So we're just going to say test details here, test here. Okay, so whatever we always want in this document, so transaction to transaction, it doesn't matter. These details are always going to be the same. And we want to just fill it out once and automatically have that template. Now, what's really nice is we can even rename the name of the template. So imagine if you have, maybe you have an addendum. Does anybody find that in the market that you're in, you're adding the same addendum or the same disclosure to every single transaction, and you're always putting the same language in there every time? But imagine if we wanted one addendum for that language, then another addendum that was the same document, but we wanted different language to it. We can actually come up here and we can rename what the template name is. And so if this was for, maybe this was something for when we're experiencing multiple offers, and we're just going to call this multiple offer language. I know it's not the form. We're just going to rename that, check the little button right there, that saves it. And then this is still whatever the actual document is. This is just the multiple offers language for that document. So all we're going to do once we've done that is we're going to hit save and close. And then we've completed the form template. So you could essentially come into any document that you always know, okay, every time I'm adding this, I always want that to be there. And you'll see we've got whatever we just added. It'll be right up here, whatever form we just added to it. We'll have all of that directly right there for you guys to come in and recreate or edit or anything that you need to at any time. Now, how do we actually then apply that template to a document? We're going to go into, I'm going to go back into my rooms. So again, we create the template first, and then when we're actually ready to pull that document in, we can do it that way. So give me 1 second while that loads. All right, and then we're going to go, I'm actually going to go into my dashboard right here. We're going to go back into a DocuSign room. So we'll go into, this one seems fine. And we're just going to walk through how to then apply that template to a document right here. All right, so I'm going to come in here. And again, I have to add the template, the document that I want to add that template to first. So I'm going to come right into my documents tab. I'm going to choose add, and I'm going to go into DocuSign forms. And then we are going to add a document. We'll come right down here. We're going to choose this one. And then we're going to choose, I think I did one for this one. So we'll just click on add. So we've added the document that we created the template for right there. So again, we're adding that document into the room when we're actually ready to use it. And then all you have to do is once that document is loaded into the room, we're just going to right click on it, and you'll see I didn't pull in a document that I created a template for, but you'll have an option that says apply template. And then what will happen, let me just pull in a different document. Give me 1 second, you guys. So we can actually pull one in that we have a template for. Perfect. So I think we've done one for this one. Give me 1 second. This is what happens when you do a lot of fake ones. Give me 1 second, you guys, just to pull that up. Tracy, how did I find, I see your question there. How did I find the template, or how do I find the document? Can't find the form I just did. Yeah. So it's essentially, it's the name of the form is never going to change. It's just the actual template. So we would need to remember what form we actually went in and created for. So we'll come in, I'll just add one more document just to show you real quick. So if we come in here to library, and then you guys can go in by groups or library, whatever you'd like. And then we'll actually do, which one did I pull in? I think I did a buyer one. I'll try this one. So we'll just go in and add the form. So we just need to know which specific form we were doing that to. And then any of the form that you created that template for, when you right click on the document, it will say apply template. And so let me just see if which one of these. So none of these, but when you've done it, none of my, yeah. Okay, perfect, Tracy. Yeah. So when you've done it where it's actually a form that you created a template for, we'd be able to just click right on here, and then you'll see the option that'll say apply template. And then when you go into that document, anything that you created in the template will automatically be there for you. You can always override it. So if for this option, you're saying, oh, I don't want those details there for some reason, you can always come in and do that. So it's the first step is creating the template, which again, we just did under My Docs, and then form templates. And then just when we add the document, we're just right clicking on that document and choosing apply template right there. I'm just going to stop there for just a moment. Any questions from anyone on that? And like I said, you can do one document and apply multiple templates. So we could save this one as somebody was telling me I use a document when I'm selling in a specific area. There's a document that I want that's a disclosure for that area, but in other areas I use it differently. So we can do that at any time as well. Any questions from anyone on any of that? We're good. Okay. Had anybody used that before? No. Okay. Yeah, that'll save you a ton of time. Are you guys going to use it now? Yeah, that'll save you. Yeah, that'll save you a great amount of time, I think. All right, you guys.
Are there like, is there like a place where maybe things are like written out, like the instructions to follow?
Yeah, so all of these, if you, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah. I just wanted to know if we can find something that's written down, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Older people need 1, 2, 3, 4.
Diane, any people need 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, one of my favorite resources, and I'll actually drop it in chat for you guys, but one of my favorite resources in the entire world is, it's like the Google of Keller Williams technology, and it is answers.kw.com. So I just typed that in chat for you guys as well, answers.kw.com. And you'll see there will be a search bar when you first go into there. And so if you just search for DocuSign, a bunch of stuff would come up. If you search for DocuSign templates, it would take you to training 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. They've got videos there. They've got screenshots. They've got all kinds of stuff for there. And then just depending on which market center that you're out of, your market center tech trainer is always happy to help with anything you guys need as well. Great question.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. That's a great question. All right. I want to know who knows this and who doesn't. And this is not a trick question. Okay. So be honest with me here. I'm going to have you write your answer in chat. Who is aware that you can automatically email documents into a DocuSign room? So just put yes or no. Who is aware that you can automatically email a document into your DocuSign room? Oh, you guys are here for the advanced class. Yeah, a lot of you know that. Okay. Those of you, do you guys ever use it? Those of you that knew about it or know about it? Oh, okay, Sonia, you do. Okay, those of you, okay, I love it. It's one of my favorite things. And I just think it's kind of an underused feature. So I definitely wanted to talk about that. So there's two things that we can do as far as email, but the first thing that we want to know is we have to figure out, all of you have a DocuSign email address. You just might not be aware of it. So for you to find it, all you have to do is, when we're in the DocuSign room, all you're going to do is right up here at the top right, you're going to see a circle. And for some of you, it might have your photo if you've updated your photo here. For some of you, it might have your initials in a circle right there. And so when we come in here, we're going to go into Manage Profile. Unless they've moved it. So give me 1 second. Yep, hang on 1 second, you guys. Let me go back to my room. Give me 1 second. Perfect. So we're actually going to go in a different way. I'm going to go I click on my name up here, and this time I'm going to go into preferences. So we're going to take a look at preferences right there. And then we're going to see the details that we want. So all we've done is you're just going to click on, for some of you, it might be your photo up here. For some of you, it might be your initials. We're just going to click directly on that at the top right and go into preferences. And then you'll see when we go into preferences, one of the options that we're going to have right down here is inbox details. So we just went to your name, preferences, and then inbox details. And you'll see that you have an inbound email. This is your DocuSign email. Now, everything right here can be changed. So generally it's going to be your name and then a dot and a string of numbers. Sometimes we'll have some different things there. This back here cannot be changed. So the @mail.docusign.net is always going to be the ending of that email address. If you wanted to change this, you could just put your cursor right there and change it to whatever you want, as long as it's available and nobody else has taken it yet. So just to make it easy, a lot of times I do recommend, if whatever you use as your regular email, so like your Gmail or your kw.com email, if that's available, let's just go ahead and make it the same thing so that it's really easy to remember. I've also saved mine as a contact. So when I go in, I'm just forwarding it. You'll see that's really easy. So the first thing that we need to do is just make sure that we know our email address, which is right here. If we did make any changes, we would just hit that Save Changes button right here. And then if you would like an e-fax number, you can also get that. You would just click on the button right here that says Get a Fax Number. They just don't give those out automatically, but there's no charge to that. And you can absolutely click right here if you would like an e-fax number as well. All right, so we're going to go back, and I'm actually going to go into my dashboard, and I'm just going to go right back into a room, because we're going to walk through how to automatically email documents directly into a room. So we just need to have a couple details from the room first. So give me 1 second while that loads. All right, so all of you guys will see that up here at the top left, each of your rooms is going to have an ID. You've probably never paid attention to it, but every single DocuSign room is going to have an ID number. This is what we need to make sure that we're paying attention to. So it's going to be, if you're young, a hashtag; if you are my age, a pound. So it's going to have that little symbol right there, and then it's going to have a string of of numbers directly behind it. It's important that we have that, because that's what we're going to use in the subject as we're forwarding any of these items. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into my email, and I have put an email together that has a document already attached to it. So I'm just going to pull that up. But the first thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to come right here and I'm just going to copy this. And you'll see that as you copy it, it says copy and paste this room ID number into your email subject in order to send documents directly into this room. So I'm going to hit copy on, again, just the pound or the hashtag and then the numbers that follow. And then I'm going to go into these that I have. Here we go. I'm going to, which one? Here we go. This one. So we're going to say that this is an email that I received from someone, maybe from another agent, and they're saying, here is the offer. And so I just put just an email to myself. It says offer is attached, and then it's got this attachment right down here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to come into this email. I'm going to forward this email. Now I'm using my kw.com email, which is a Gmail account. So I'm going to send this to, again, this is where we just need to know your DocuSign email address because that's who we're going to be forwarding this to. And then we just need to come in and edit the subject. So I want to make sure I come in here and I just paste that ID number for the room right there. And then again, I've got all of these details right here. And then I've got the actual attachment right there that I'm going to send into the room. So again, we're just forwarding this to my DocuSign email account with the ID number right there. We're going to hit send. And then we're going to give that just a moment, you guys, and we'll go back into DocuSign and we'll take a look at how that comes across. Now, it's pretty quick. You'll see that, knock on wood, but it's pretty quick. But I will tell you, if we're sending like 10, 15 documents, it just kind of just depends on all of the attachments that we have. But generally, we're going to see that that's relatively quick. So I'm just going to refresh this and we'll see. So I love this because imagine if you get an offer on your phone. Maybe you're out, you're working in the field, and you just want to get those items into this DocuSign room rather than going to home or going to the Market Center, downloading it, uploading it, doing all of that. We could actually come in and we could just forward that email directly from here. So it looks like it's taking just a moment. We'll give that just a moment. Let me just make sure that I did forward this as we want to. Yep, we are good. All right, the other thing that I want to show you guys while we're just waiting for that to pop up is I'm going to go into my email. So have you guys ever had a time where it's not an attachment that you're wanting to make sure that you have, but it's maybe correspondence? Oh, hang on one second, guys. Someone is calling me through my computer. Sorry about that. Have you ever had the time where maybe you have email correspondence from someone and you just want to be able to track that, right? So it could be someone, yeah, Sonia, that's a great point. We'll speak to that. It could be that you want to have details about something, maybe someone saying, yes, we agree to a price change or whatever it is. You know that there's an email discussion that it's not an attachment, it's an email thread or discussion. And you want to make sure that you have that. And maybe we want to add that into the DocuSign room. We have a way to actually convert an entire email into a PDF that we can send into the room, which is really nice. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So we just have to know the same details, which is the room ID, which again is right up here. So we copied and pasted that. And so this time we're going to actually come in. Let me go right back up here to my email. So we're going to go into my email, and this is an email that has no attachments. So I just want to forward the actual email. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to forward that email, and a lot of the steps are the same. There's just one additional thing that we have to do. So we just have to say that we are going to send this to my DocuSign email, and then we're going to do two things in the subject here. The first thing that we're going to do, we're going to get rid of the subject that's there by default, and we're going to put the room ID. Then we're going to do one more thing. We're going to do a hashtag or a pound PDF, and we're going to name this test document. So by us putting the hashtag PDF, it knows that we want to convert all of this into a PDF. And this is what I want that converted document to be called. So again, we have to do the ID number to send it directly into the room, and then we're going to just send it right there. So we're going to hit send, and this one takes just a tiny bit longer to convert. So we'll give that just a moment. Before we go back in, Sonia brought up a really great point. When we are in the rooms, we'll always have this inbox right up here. So anything that you email yourself that you don't have the room ID for will also show up right here in your inbox for anything that you've sent to yourself. And then we can come in here and we can move that into a specific room of where we want to have those documents. So if you don't know the ID number for the room, you're just kind of out and you just want to get it there and be able to move it, we can just send it to your DocuSign email. That will bring it right here to the inbox. From there, we can move it into any room. So we're going to go in and just check on those documents and see. Sometimes when I'm running Zoom and Wi-Fi and everything, it takes a tiny bit longer, but we're going to see what we've got here. So let's go into this room again. All right, and we're going to go into documents. Perfect. They have both arrived. So the one right here, the MREA Book Club Topics, is the item that I sent that was the attachment. So it is named whatever the attachment was. The one right next to it is essentially just my email thread. So it's taken the entire email discussion, the entire email thread, it's sent it directly into this room. And then you'll notice that the name of this is test document. We saved it as a PDF because we did that hashtag PDF. Then we wrote directly behind that test document, which is what saved it as that. So if you wanted to save this as, correspondence from sellers or price update or, whatever it might be, we can come in and very, very easily do that, which is really nice. Now let's talk about a couple things. I want to talk about all the things that you can do when we actually click on a document and get that toolbar, because these are some really fantastic features. So you'll notice that as you are looking at all of the documents, you'll have this little bubble that's right kind of at the top left of each document. I'm going to click on that, and then I get a bunch of options of what I can do. I can copy this if I just want a complete other copy of this form. I can move it. So we'll talk about folders in just a moment, but I also can take this and move this into another room. So maybe I did take this from my inbox and I moved it into this room, and then I realized that I actually moved it into the incorrect room. I can click on that and just move it at any time. I can email it, which is just sending it basically as a kind of a locked PDF that you can email it to. I can create an envelope, which is what then starts the DocuSign process for your buyers or sellers or anybody else to be able to sign it. I can download it. So if I need this saved on my computer, I can do that. I can archive it, which is not a delete. It just removes it from the view of this room, and then I can unarchive it at any time. If I had archived it, I'd be able to unarchive it, and then know that there is a delete. Be cautious with that. So you might want to check with your market center to see if they ever even allow the deleting of documents. Now, if I click on delete, it will tell me the document will be permanently removed and it cannot be recovered. So you can never bring this document back. So just a note about that for you. The other thing that I did want to show you guys is we have the ability to also come in here. Let me see if I have a document. Perfect. Yeah. So I'm going to actually, something that I love that's a great feature, because you'll notice that as you start to use DocuSign, your documents start to multiply. So as we have signed documents, we have the original version, then we have the signed documents, all of these different things. So I like to really organize each room so I know what I'm really looking at. And so I can easily do that by just clicking on actions right up here. And I'm going to choose add folder. And so maybe I want a folder for what I'm saying are the executed documents. So I really want a true folder that when this is a signed document, I want to move it into that. So you'll see I've got all of my folders listed right here. And then we'll say that this is an executed document and this is an executed document. We're going to click on the two buttons right there. And then I'm going to come right up here and I'm going to choose that move. And then it's going to ask me, where do I want to move it to? We'll say a folder in the current room. And then I'm going to choose executed documents, move. And then you'll see I get a quick confirmation that it successfully moved the document. And then I'll have the executed documents right here. And then all of my other room documents will be at the bottom. So a lot of times I know that as you really start, especially if we're like in multiple offers or we're sending things back and forth, we've got signatures, we've got all of these different things going on. Sometimes when I'm looking at all of my documents, it just seems like there's so much going on. So the folders can really, really help with that. The other thing is this is more of a personal preference, but by default, your documents are going to be almost like a grid where we can see a preview of the document. You do have the option to have those as more of a linear view. And then we have the actual folders here. Now we can collapse those folders at any time if we don't want to see them, if we just want to look at the executed ones, and then we can open them back up at any time. And then we've got the same thing here where we have the buttons. The other thing that I wanted to show you is you'll see once I check the button next to 2 documents, up here in my nice toolbar, I get a new option, which is combine. So maybe something was scanned in and this should all actually be one document, but instead it was broken up into 2 and we actually want it just as one document. I can click on the combine. None of these have been signed, which is why I can't do it that way. So let me we'll come in this way. Let me pick a different one. We'll just pick some PDFs. Perfect. And then we're going to choose combine. And then I can even give a new name to this. So we'll choose that, save. And then you'll see it just takes a moment to load and it will take those 2 documents, make them from 2 documents into that 1 document. And then we're going to go reverse now. So we've got test documents right here. We're going to click the bubble right next to that. And then you'll see we've got a couple options right up here. One of them we can copy, we can do, let me actually change this 1 second. Perfect. We can actually unsplit it right there. So if we wanted it separately, we could do that as well. So again, we can combine, we can split, we can do anything that we need all from that toolbar, which is really nice right there. So there's a ton of functionality. It's just that a lot of times it's not so in your face. So again, either right clicking on the document will give you all of those options as well. So we could split the document right here, or clicking on the bubble will open up that toolbar up here that will be able to do the same thing. So it's both takes you to the same spot, just different things for that. All right, final little thing that I'm going to show you guys today, and this is one of my favorite things. This is a relatively new update, and this is going to save you so much time. So we're actually out of DocuSign right now. We've moved into Command. And something that I wanted to show you, this probably looks familiar to a lot of you guys, that when you're submitting your documents for compliance review, this is what we're looking at. So if you've been using DocuSign or Command for a while, you might be used to when we have the listing agreement and we're ready to submit it to your broker in charge or to your compliance director, we would come individually and we would choose the add a file next to each of the documents. We've got a really fantastic update that's going to save you so much time. So when we are in the command compliance section, so this is when we're adding the documents for you to submit these to the Market Center for review. We've got an option right here that says attach multiple files. So if I have multiple documents that I want to actually submit for review, rather than going one by one on the right, this is really, really nice. So all I did, again, I'm going to go back 1 step. I'm in Command. I'm under the Documents tab. I'm ready to submit for review. I'm going to choose attach multiple files. Yeah, Sonia, this is a great update. And then I'm going to even choose DocuSign. And so this is why it's so important that we're always starting the transaction through the opportunity, because then it links it directly into DocuSign. So I'm going to choose DocuSign. And then I'm just going to go in and I'm going to see that checklist that your Market Center has created for you. And I've got a drop-down menu next to every single item on the checklist. So I can come over here and you'll see I even have folders. So remember I created that folder called executed documents. And so I know these are the executed documents. These are the ones that I actually want to submit. So I can click right on that and go into the next one, go right into that one, go to the next one, scroll down to whatever document I need right there. And then it's just, I just hit attach. And then you'll see that it changes as the page loads right behind it. And instead of having to go in one by one, Now I've got all of those documents right there that I attached. And then all I have to do is hit that submit to MC button. So again, this is outside of DocuSign, yet it pulls in the documents from DocuSign. And all we did was just hit that attach multiple files, click on the DocuSign. It automatically pulls in. It'll even tell you what documents you already have there. So then we could go in and pick the additional ones. So that I know will save everybody a great deal of time, which we obviously know is really needed now and honestly always to save you guys time. All right, so I'm just going to stop the share right there. I know that was a little fast and furious, and I'll just open it up. If anybody has any questions or anything that I didn't cover that you wanted to know more about as far as advanced DocuSign, I'll just kind of open it up to you guys.
When you were at that page where you were attaching those multiple documents at the same time.
Yes.
And I guess I've been going about it the long way, because most of the time what I do, when I go there, I go into it says go to transaction.
Mm-hmm.
So but what you're saying is that I don't have to go in the transaction to move those to do anything to those documents to make sure that they are in compliance. I mean, that they pass through compliance.
Yeah, so you do. Yeah, so it's still going to be, let me just share my screen. Hang on one second. Yeah, so remember DocuSign, if we think of DocuSign is where you pull the documents in, fill out the documents, share the documents for signatures. Command is where you do everything for compliance.
Right.
Yeah. So we're still coming into Command. We're attaching the documents, submitting them as we always have. The one change there is you used to have to come over here and individually add the file. Now we can come up here and just attach multiple files at once and then submit to the Market Center.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Happy to help. Anyone else? Any questions?